Hey everybody, how's it going? I am Steve Ocelot, and welcome to Rabble Rouzers. Tonight you can call me Rabbles. I am your GM, I am your referee, I am the guy who is going to help all these guys and gals do awesome things in this game. How's it going, everybody?
Glorious.
All good?
Great.
I love pup.
I already asked you guys that because we just did the whole session 0, and now we're actually recording. We're going to actually play some D&D. It's so exciting.
Wait, we weren't recording before?
We were recording it, but we weren't we weren't recording it to put it out there. Now this is the first episode.
It wasn't for the people.
Yeah. Well, maybe someday.
I'm always for the people.
If we get enough of you viewers decide to like our stuff, then maybe we'll give you the session 0.
You're such a man of the people. My God.
No, nope, not at all. Anyway, I'm happy to introduce myself, but it's not about me. It is about everyone else who is here tonight. And to my left, my upper left, is Yurgriff Anvilhands, a.k.a. Greg. What's going on, bud?
Hey, what's up? Happy to be here. Happy to make everyone some weapons and whoop on some ass.
Awesome. To the lower left of my upper left, and I'm totally stealing this from another show that I watch, and I feel so bad about it, but is our good friend Fignacious Mangelbopper, aka Samir. How's it going, bud?
Glorious. How about you?
I'm good. I'm ready to play games. I'm not so ready to read this 3-page monologue that I'm gonna read to you, but
I'm not ready to hear it.
Oh, well then maybe we should just go home. Oh wait, we are home.
Yeah.
Respective homes. To my upper right is the lovely Moxie, aka Allie,
Hello.
Empress Allie.
Hello, hello.
How are you?
Hyped. Hyped. Ready to, do some crime. I mean, sing some songs. That's what I meant.
Oh, some crime or songs about crime, maybe.
Guess you'll find out.
Fair enough. And to the lower left of my upper left is Raymond, aka Frank the Tank. What's up, bud?
I've never been called that in my life. That's a complete lie. That movie came out when I was in college, so of course everybody called me that. But yeah, I'm here to walk through the woods and see what's on the other side.
Cool. I'm happy to have all you guys here. I'm happy to be finally kicking this off. I will say for anyone who is just joining us, we are all adults and we are playing an adult game. I will be vaping on screen. Vaping is bad for you. Don't do it. But I'm just letting everyone know in advance this is going to happen frequently. And probably some of the discussions and the things that we get into will be adult. So if that's not your thing and you can't hang, that's okay. To each their own. Yeah, we're drinking. This is going to be our podcast. So, I mean, our VOD? Our VOD. And we hope you enjoy it. But I have nothing else to do aside from kick us off on the very first episode of Rabble Rouzers. And that will lead us in with my monologue.
Pull up your popcorn, people.
Yeah, pull up your popcorn. Have a sit with us. In the cold lands of northeast Faerun, nestled between the frigid plains of Narfel and the frozen tundra of Vasa, lies the kingdom of Damara. The lands of Damara are far from where many would call the center of the world in today's age. For regions this far north are not typically as inviting as the beautiful coast along the Sea of Swords. Damara, like most in the frigid north, treat all who live here with short, moderate farming seasons and long, hard, snowy winters. Of these regions, however, Damara remains one of the more habitable, thanks to the high peaks of the Galena and winding crags of the Giant Spire mountain ranges. These mountain ranges, which stretch for hundreds of miles, act as natural borders to the neighboring countries, and while they may help to provide some respite from the worst of the great glacial winds, the lands between them are not without their own lives, politics, mysteries, and dangers. Nearly a day goes by without a tale of brigands attacking some trade caravan or orcish raiders decimating one of the smaller villages along the hills and plains of the territory. And of course, there's always the tavern gossip of goblins stealing children in the night, trolls and giants coming down from the Galenas to destroy farms and steal cattle, or other stories of ancient ruins, buried treasures, or other dangers left behind by the region's long and arduous history. As of late, growing word has hit the ears of even the furthest reaches of the Damaran territories. That of Thay's political ideology is spreading outside of its borders from the southeast. Some say the tendrils of that evil have even reached the Damaran capital itself, although those tales are often kept at a whisper and in closed company for fear of reprisals from their very own king. Of King Yarn Frostmantle, who sits upon his throne in the capital city of Heliogabalus, there are many stories to be heard. Those stories, however, are not where ours begin. We find ourselves in a much smaller setting, that of a small town accustomed to prosperity and harsh lands, and known well as the sole export of one of the king's most treasured and lucrative resources. I'm speaking of the town of Oakshire. Oakshire is a young town, barely half a century old, where the opportunity to gain immense amounts of wealth is matched only by the high chance of a gruesome death. Over the years, those looking to make an honest living, adventurers searching for fame and glory, and even the eager investor hoping to bankroll these endeavors have all flocked here. These days, fall of 1500 DR to be exact, the town hosts a modest 200 to 300 people if you count the outlying homesteads. While most fit that of dwarven or gnomish description, there are small pockets of humans, elves, and others who do live in town, or at the very least, come through to trade. Oakshire itself was settled upon lands with a varying history. Great wars were fought here. Demons and great arcanists have laid waste to these lands in the past. Great empires have risen and fallen, now dotting nearby forests and mountainsides with remnants of their greatness. The tale of ancient ruins, lost magic, and other amazing treasures are not few nor far between, and it is of these ruins where the town itself was constructed. In fact, the majority of the buildings in the town proper find themselves built upon the ancient foundations from a long-gone society. Despite the histories that have occurred here, the town's name was not brought on by kings or queens or great heroes like many often are. Instead, it was derived from the mere fact that the forests surrounding it are the only sources of hard oak wood in all of the cold lands. In that, the Oakshire lumber trade remains to this day the most lucrative of all endeavors undertaken here. With the oak trade came many others over the 5 decades that Oakshire has existed, and it is with one of these where our story begins in earnest. It is another cool fall morning, only a couple weeks outside the end of summer. The sun has yet to peek over the horizon as the embers of dying bedside fireplace begins to wane. The room is comfortably adorned with modest furnishings and belongings, and by all appearances seems that it is likely one of the newer in town. The wood planks are freshly lacquered and sealed to keep the elements out and the warmth of the hearth in. A nearby closet lay open and filled with a variety of clothing, much of which seems like those of a proper working stiff. In a nicely sized and comfortable looking bed, a lump twists under the sheets, turning over to reveal a pair of waking eyes adjusting to the low light left behind by the fire they had set the night before. Yurgriff Anvilhands, will you please describe your character?
Yurgriff Anvilhands is dwarven. He is a mountain dwarf. He stands at about 4 feet tall and looks to be about 4 feet wide. He carries a stocky build with a broad chest and shoulders that make his outline almost boxy-like. Due to his work in the forge, Yurgriff's arms are large and match the thickness of his chest and his shoulders. Atop his head is fiery red hair that looks like it came directly from the forge itself. Most of his hair is pulled back into a type of ponytail, but due to the amount of hair he has, the ponytail sits on a bed of even more red, fiery hair. Much like his dwarven brothers and the dwarves you've more than likely seen before, his beard is as red as the hair on his head, and it falls down to about the middle of his chest. 3/4 of the way, it is tied off, just so it doesn't, catch fire as he's banging away at his swords and armor. His mustache is just as full, with braids falling on both sides of his face, and they hang down to about the level of his pectoral area. He normally will wear his smithy clothes, but other than that, there are no discernible tattoos, scars, or blemishes on Yurgriff Anvilhands himself.
Is there anything you'd like to do this morning before you head to work?
Yurgriff he's gonna do what he does every morning. He dresses in his apron, he grabs his smithy tools, and he leaves his house and he heads to work.
Okay. As Yurgriff heads out, I think this would be a kind of a cool time to transition us into a map of the town. Because I would like you to tell me where your smithy is.
Smithy is located, we will say it is located right next to Harry's pottery.
Okay, so this spot right there on the ping. Awesome. So as Yurgriff Anvilhands gathers everything together and heads out into the darkness of the morning, you walk out and you notice just across the street is a place called the Black Keg, and you know this place. And the Black Keg is a brewery. They don't typically serve drink from the brewery proper, but the brewery provides drink to the various taverns in town. But what they do serve in the morning for the likes of you and others who are getting up that early to work is coffee. And you find yourself walking over to that very brewery, the Black Keg, to be met by Altez LaFox, the owner of the brewery. And Altez is a half-elven man. He is probably sitting around 5.5 feet tall. His ears are more of the elven persuasion than they are the human side, which can be in kind of in either direction. And he sees you coming and he says, Yurgriff, come over here. How you doing? Good morning to you.
He fixes his apron. He goes, what's his name? Altix?
It's Altez LaFox.
Altez. Now, Altez, my friend, how you doing today? It is quite a beautiful morning, and we are gonna go make ourselves some weapons, some armor, some shields, and what I need from you is that beautiful, delicious cup of coffee.
You look at him, and he's already kind of his head down, and he's pouring it out, and he says, I got a lot of work to do today too. I figured I'd get up nice and early and get the next brew started, but excuse me, I had a lot to drink last night. I'm trying out a new brew. Oh, you'll like this one. It's gonna take a little while, but I think you're gonna like it. And he hands over a piece of pottery, like it's shaped like a mug, but it doesn't have a handle. And he hands it over to you, and you take it and you sip in it, and it's pretty tasty coffee, like it is every morning that you get it from him. He says, you sound like you have a lot of work to do. You have a lot of contracts or what?
No. I've been working on some things on the side. Nothing I really want to talk about right now, but I figured it was time to give our longsword just a little upgrade, you know. And I think that's really all I can say right now, friend. It is still too early to be talking business.
Fair enough. I agree. I'm gonna get back at it. I know some others are gonna be coming looking for the coffee, and then I gotta get myself to work. But just another day, right? And you hear now off in the distance already the chopping of trees in the woods. Clear signs that the lumber mill has already had their coffee, and they are working towards their day of taking as many trees as they possibly can. And as you bid farewell to Alta's, you head over to your own shop, and you unlock the door with the key that you made and the locking mechanism that you probably made as well. And you step inside and start lighting up the candles to give you a bit of light before the sun actually rises proper. Maybe about 45 minutes or so later, as the dawn begins to break over the horizon and the first rays of light pass through the trees of a dense forest, the silhouette of a tall and slender being can be caught through quick glimpses as they dart past rocks, trees, and bush. Can I get Mr. Raymond to give me a little rundown of who you are, what you're doing?
Well, Raymond has been darting through the woods for a little while now. He started on the trail at some point, but he's been off trail for hours at this point, trying to chase down this game. Not a big deal. He'll find his way back. He's got a lot of skills that he's gathered over the years. Some he picked up from experience, some from his father. Ray's wearing dark clothes. He's got and some armor, but clearly he's wearing things that are dark for a reason. He wants to be able to slink back into the shadows if he needs to, rather than be flashy or stand out. He's covered in dirt here and there, not covered in mud or really nasty, but just there's some clear dirt on his face and in his fingernails. He's fine with that. That's how he's grown up and lived, and that's perfectly fine. He's got black hair. He's tall, but he's very slender. He lives off of the land primarily, so whatever he finds is whatever he eats, or if he has to come up with some other means to live, he finds a way. He's got a pair of short swords and a bow that he's got an arrow knocked in at the moment, and he's walking as quietly as he possibly can, jumping over rocks and trying not to make too much noise as he stalks his prey. He knows it's close. He knows it's right up around the corner, so he tries to quietly follow it.
And this is where we see the bow come up, and you've had it notched, but now you lock it back, and you're waiting. You know where it is now. You've found this thing. You've been tracking it for some time now. The question is, can you get the shot? These woods are denser than any of the woods you've traveled in as of late. They are packed, and somewhere in the distance, as you get yourself ready, and you're aiming, and you wait for it to come into your sights, just as it rounds a tree, you hear, echoing through the woods, far enough away to not be right in your face, the clear sound of axes hitting wood as this animal darts and takes off in another direction. And you resume the chase, bolting often it's in the way that it went, being very mindful of that noise that you had just heard. Some time passes. We find ourselves in early morning, and a pink tiefling named Moxie is awakened by the sound of clattering and smashing, the sound of broken glass and broken, probably plates or mugs or something along those lines, coming from downstairs. Not again. Moxie, you have been staying at the Wanton Thief Inn for the better part of 6 or 7 days now. You're not from this town, you barely know anybody here, but you know well enough to know that the klutz in this very seedy establishment probably just knocked a bunch of things on the floor again. And once again, for at least the 3rd day in a row, has woken you up. How are you doing? Be damned.
I'm very angry. I do not want to deal with this again, over and over and over again. Every morning something different. I get up and I slam my door just to make noise.
As you stand up out of this, it's a very it's a bed. We will say that it is a bed. It is not a nice bed. It is not a modest bed. It is just, it's something you can lay down on, and it's cheap, and it's done well enough considering your past and what you have slept in and on and around before. It is functional. And you stand up and walk across this very sparse room that has nothing but a desk, a chair, and your own belongings aside from this bed. And you open the door and you slam it as hard as you can. And you hear the sound of "Ah!" from downstairs as it startled whoever is making that other racket. Outside, you hear the sound of the town starting to stir. What would you like to do?
I guess I'm going to get up because I have nothing else to do now that it's so freaking loud in here. Yeah, so I'm gonna go downstairs and hope that this tavern is going to give me breakfast for waking me up again.
You gather what you need for the time being. The room is yours. It's not going anywhere. You can leave whenever you want. And you head down the rickety stairs into the wide open space of this inn. And this inn it's set in a wooden building, one of the few in town that does not boast some sort of ancient stone foundation from whatever existed in this town before the current settlement or settlers arrived. And as you head down there, you duck out of instinct, because for the last 4 days, you have hit your head on the low ceiling that hits the stairwell at the exact wrong spot. And you almost do it again, but you damn it. And you duck away from it. And as you get down there, you notice that, and this is something you've noticed before, but the walls and ceilings of the first floor are carved with runes of some type. And you haven't really paid much mind to them yet, but they're there, and it's part of what a lot of people gossip about. Oh, you've heard people at night when they're deep in drink, is some ancient wizard put these on the walls, and anyone who touches them will burn up in ashes, stuff like that. Like really weird, all nonsensical, all clearly not correct type of stories that you hear from the drinking people. And there's almost always, every night that you've been here, there's always been at least a handful of people drinking and eating and gossiping in this manner. That doesn't matter right now. What you see is Bula, the young human male, dressed in ratty clothes, who is essentially the custodian of the place. He's young. He's probably in his maybe late teens, maybe early 20s, depending. But even if he was in his early 20s, it doesn't feel like that the way he talks and he acts. And you see him sweeping up broken glass and all these other things. Going, God damn it! I did it again. They're gonna be so mad at me. They're gonna be so mad at me. You see him like looking over his back to like maybe probably check and see where the owners are at. To make sure that they aren't seeing him clean up this massive mess that he made. And this is not the first time you've seen this week. He drops glasses all the time. Nothing to this degree. It looks like one of the shelves that hold everything, and it's probably not his fault, broke and everything shattered. And he's worried about it being an issue for him because he's the one taking care of it. But he turns back and he says, Miss Moxie, I'm sorry. I hope I didn't wake you.
Oh, no, dear. It was not you. I heard somebody slamming their door upstairs. It's fine. What happened to you?
I was trying to put the heavy plates on the top shelf, and I don't know, the shelf broke, and it all came crashing down. I saved a couple of them, and you see actually he has a couple kind of off to the side that didn't smash, and looks pretty proud about not having those break. And he looks at you and says, Can you help me real quick? Because when they come back, they just went out to go to the farmer's market to pick up some stuff. If they come back and see this mess, they're going to kill me.
Aren't they going to notice their plates missing, or?
Probably.
How tall is the shelf?
It's not that tall. So like basically the way this is set up is it's an open concept room with a handful of kind of all different oddly shaped tables and benches and chairs and stuff like that. Nothing nearly as nice as the Jamath and Manath eatery that you actually had dinner at the night before, which is, in terms of a place that you're in now, very upscale. This place is not that. This is the dive bar of town, and there is just that. There is a bar on one side. And this is where he's cleaning things up, just out to the outside edge of that bar. And behind it, you can see, a whole shelf that's at bar level behind it that has all the alcohol bottles. And then up from that, there's a shelf with glasses, and then a shelf with plates, and then a shelf with extra, all the extra amenities.
So like, reasonably at horn level, if.
Yeah, I would say that. How tall? Okay. How tall is Moxie?
5'6" with her horns.
Yeah, I think that middle shelf is definitely attainable without having to get on a stool.
Okay, time to finesse a child. Why don't you just say that you walked into me, my horns hit the shelf, we had a whole problem, and then you just have to do everything I say for the next little bit, and I'll take the fall for you.
You see him contemplating this in his head, and he thinks it's a great idea. You can see it in his eyes. He thinks it's a great idea, but he's also very worried about his ability to lie. Make a persuasion check for me, and the DC is going to be low. First roll of the campaign. The DC is going to be low.
Nervous.
Put him out, but
okay. Persuasion. Roll. 18.
18, nice. Okay, so he looks at you and says, you see that look of recognition in what you're saying kind of come past the idea of him screwing up and getting caught in a lie, and he says, okay, are you sure? I don't want to put you out, but okay, yeah, thank you so much. Here, I'm gonna finish cleaning this up, and I'm gonna go get you some roasted peas, and maybe some beetroot stew for breakfast. How's that sound?
And maybe some meat from across the street.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I can do that. Sure,
yes, that's what I thought. Yeah.
And you help him to some degree.
Yeah, I'll help him. Yeah, no, I'll help him.
Yeah, you help him to clean up, and he goes off. He sets you up at the bar. He pours a drink for you. What do you prefer to drink in the mornings? Can I get you something? Anything like?
She drinks a lot of ale, but she'll drink tea this morning. Oh, okay. We're trying to have a Zen morning.
Okay, I can get you some tea. And before he goes off about doing everything else, he takes care of some tea, and then you see him head out the front door, most likely off to Jamath and Maneth's across the street. And you actually know that Bula is the son of the owners, Jamath and Maneth, of that establishment. And you've learned enough over the course of the last few days that you've been here to understand that his parents think that he's a klutz, and they want him to get experience at the shitty place first. Sad.
Okay.
Very sad.
Good to know. I will totally never use this against him ever. Good to know.
We have a bit of a cut. Friggin' name, man. It kills me every time I read it. Fignacious Mangelbopper. You find yourself sitting. Mangelbopper.
Thank you.
My mistake. You find yourself at your shop, and in all rights, it's a shop, but it doesn't entirely have doors or walls or windows. It's more of like a it's better than a cart, like there are no wheels, like, and you didn't bring this here. It's not about that. You're renting it out while you're here to do your business, and you are very proud of it, of course. And as you walk up and unlock the side walls and take them down and put them on the side of the thing, you have this wheelless cart that makes up your shop, your cheesemonger shop. What are you doing this morning?
Well, I am walking up to my cart, getting everything ready. I snap my fingers and get my mage hand to start rolling up the curtains. And I'm starting to pull out my cheeses that I had been preparing for the past couple of weeks since I arrived in town. And these are very special cheeses that had to stay in the cart and stay in the special fermenting chamber for a little bit. But it's not just fermentation, there's other things going on. So today's the big day where I pull them out and I test them for the first time to make sure that they're good for everybody. Okay,
what type of cheeses are these? Are you making like special cheeses or just straight up cheeses? What are these cheeses? Give me some flavor.
Yeah, so there's these are special cheeses that it can't be defined by flavor. They're defined by experience. And you can have the cheeses that are just for eating and have a great tasting experience and a great mouthfeel. But then you have the specialer cheeses that, let's say, will result in greater experiences or a greater experience of life.
Okay. Which ones are you checking on first?
I'm checking on one very special one that usually is a good one if I get it right, where you have just a little piece of the crumble, you put it in your mouth, and it tastes like a hint of blueberries all day long, and you are confident and happy all day long. However, if I get it a little bit wrong, you'll still have the positive effects, but then you have some pretty big downsides where you end up having a lot of gas that everyone else can smell except you.
So you've been working on a number of cheeses, and the first one that you want to check on is this one that you just described, and
right.
And you reach down and you pull off the cloth and you pull it up and you smell it, and it smells right, but it's not about that. You gotta taste it. You gotta see what's going on with it. I would like you, I would like you to roll a making cheese check for me, but that's a tough check to figure out. So why don't you roll me a nature check? Yeah, let's go with a nature check.
All right, you got it.
I'm gonna have to figure out what the making cheese check is going forward, but we're gonna start with a nature check.
21.
Okay. You taste a little bit of it. Fuck yes, this is what I was trying to get. This is exactly what I wanted. Awesome, so good. You get exactly what you were hoping for out of this cheese.
Nice.
And considering you had spent time making this cheese and a handful of these other not as special but still special cheeses, you're pretty confident after some quick smells and tastes of the other ones that they're good. But you have this other cheese you've been working on. This one when you eat it, it provides some vitality. It can heal the sick. It can close wounds. It's for all intents and purposes, it would be what some would call a healing potion, but you don't want to drink the potion. You want a tasty cheese that does the same thing. And you've been working on this one for a while, trying to perfect it, and it hasn't quite got there yet. This is the one. This is the one you want. Can you roll either? Actually, for this one, because of what we had talked about before, I'm gonna have you roll an herbalism check. And in your case, because you're not technically proficient with it, you're gonna roll that with just a straight D20.
Okay.
I would like you to roll 1d4, please. Oh, I'm sorry, wait. 2d4, please.
Okay, there's one that's a 2.
Yep.
And 2 and a 2.
Okay. You...
This is gonna hurt.
You've been wanting to do this for a long time. You've been working on this for a very long time, and you've done a couple different things, and you were hoping this would be the time that it worked out in your favor. And as you take a bite into it and you swallow it down, you feel pretty good. You feel okay. No problems. Everything's good. Maybe like 45 minutes go by. All of a sudden, you feel this sharp pain in your stomach. Ugh. Ugh. And as you go to throw up, you take 6 points of damage.
Oh, that's like 3/4 of all my points.
Because I know it is. Because because that healing cheese you were trying to make, you put something in it you shouldn't have. That wasn't good. But you know what it is. You know what it was. You know not to do that again. And the next time it will be better. It's all a learning experience. I'll figure it out.
Next time I'm testing it on somebody else.
And as you think to that, in your head, you see this tall, slender figure walking out of the woods, not in the main road past the guard towers, but through the forest, kind of in the general area where your cart is, which on the map, and I'll ping it, is this green spot essentially. Like this little cart, that actual cart is your cart. So like, Yurgriff lives in kind of this house over here essentially, and that's where you have your shop set up. And he comes walking out of the woods from this direction, and as he's walking out, you see him looking back, and in terms of that, I keep calling you Mr. Raymond. Raymond, you're looking back as you're walking out of the woods because you're passing by what appears to be a kind of a decrepit and abandoned temple of some sort. And you can hear people, like, you know there are people ahead of you. You know that there's some sort of town here. You did check it out before you're looking to walk out of the woods. You're careful. But you go walking past that, and it just catches your eye. And you're like, what is that? But you continue walking, and what, I'm gonna have to start really learning names. What Fignacious sees is this tall, slender man with a boar up over his shoulder. A large boar. This thing is humongous. And he's just sauntering out of the woods, looking backwards before he turns, deftly dodges aside of a tree that he almost walked into, and is not for any intent or purpose, is kind of heading in your direction.
I just wave him over. I'm like, hey, what are you doing with that boar, sir?
Raymond hasn't picked a voice yet, so Ray is just gonna roll as it is. I killed it out in the forest out there, and I figured maybe some folks would want some meat, and maybe you got a tanner in town. Any chance you could point me in the right direction?
I could, but I think I should suggest that you have some of my special cheeses with your boar.
Huh.
You'll be able to sell them and sell the pieces and eat them to your heart's plenty, and just have the best time of your life, because my cheeses are unlike any that you've ever had before.
Really? What kind of cheese do you sell?
I sell cheeses that change your entire experience of life. You are going to be floating through the skies on a different plane of existence. I come from my homeland, which is not on this plane of existence.
So is this like acid cheese or shroom cheese? Like what is going on?
I don't tell my secrets. If you want your cheese and if you want the experience, you'll get some of my cheese. That's it. That's all there is to it. It's very simple. Just trust me. And at that point, I cast my friend's cantrip, just in case I have to do a charisma check.
Okay. Are you trying to like keep this from him? Because your cantrip, what's friends? I know what friends does, but does it require you to do anything? So friends is somatic and material. So you essentially, you're gonna need to like pull out a small amount of makeup that you apply to your face.
I take a piece of cheese and I dribble some crumbs on the side of my cheek.
Okay,
that's my makeup.
And you say whatever words that you say to do this. And Raymond, you just like, what?
I just watch him like smack these bits of cheese into his face, and I just think, that's got to be good cheese. I want some. So I ask him what kind is that he just put on him, and I'd like a piece.
Okay,
I throw the board down first. I just like throw it down right in front of me and start to make conversation.
The boar slams to the ground at his feet and kicks up a little bit of dust into the air. And he steps to the side of it and walks towards you.
So I classify them by color because they're above mortal names. So the closest we can do is call them by color. And the one that will go best with your boar is the purple cheese. I'll trade you half your boar for a block of my purple cheese.
Okay. I didn't think we would get into this kind of roleplay so quick. All right. So yeah. I look and I pick up and I smell the cheese and I kind of want to see what I think it does first.
No samples.
I'm just smelling it.
Okay.
Can I do some kind of a check to see what the hell it is?
His cheese?
Yes.
You want to check my cheese?
Which cheese are you attempting to give to him? Is this a standard cheese or is this a non-standard cheese?
It's just a regular cheese with purple food coloring in it.
Okay, you can make, I guess, an insight check to understand what type of cheese he's giving you. He's not deceiving you in any way. He's just giving you cheese. So if you want to have an understanding of the cheese, just make an insight.
It's a 12.
A 12, okay. I mean, it does not look like cheese.
It's purple.
It smells okay. Yeah, it's purple, but you know, you've heard of blue cheese before and stuff like that. Maybe you've never had it before, but you know, you've heard of it. So there must be purple cheese and orange cheese and other cheese. Like, sure.
All right. Raymond agrees, and he pulls out one of his knives, and he cuts the hide off of the boar, does like a real quick field cut, and then he cuts the boar in half and just picks up. It's mostly head.
You just cut the boar in half right there. You just chop.
I just cut it right in half, and I take the head, and I like slam it right on the table. I say, "Here, you can make some head cheese with this," and I take the purple cheese and walk off with the rest of my boar and the hide.
Thank you. Please come again.
You just walk away after doing that. Okay, great. So you are. Oh man, Fignacious, you are left with half of a boar, and it's cut. It was cut so sloppily, like he just didn't care, because you just said, "Can I have half?" And he said, "Sure." And he cuts down into this boar and essentially takes it off like this way. So like one shoulder is still on the part that he's taking with him. So you're basically getting like one shoulder and the head.
Cut.
But you know, there's a bunch of meat in the back of that shoulder. It's usable if you want to use it for something, and it's much lighter than the whole other thing he was carrying, so you can pick it up pretty easily and put it wherever you want it to go.
Luckily, I needed boar's tusks and boar's hair anyways. So,
well done.
Another special cheese.
Raymond, you continue up the street, having mentioned that you wanted to sell this thing, but not bothering to ask where to go to do so. And you continue walking kind of up the main thoroughfare towards what would probably serve as the center of town. And as you do, you pass by a at least in terms of you, a shorter red-haired dwarf who is brushing off what appears to be a smithy apron. And looks like he may be heading off to do business elsewhere or whatever he's getting about his day. And you see this person, Yurgriff, this tall and slender human in dark clothes with a like 3/4 of a boar thrown over his shoulder, just bleeding out down the back of his clothing.
Yeah. He looks at him, kind of sides eye him. He's like, "Friend, you're not from around here, are you?"
No, I just got here. Looking for somebody that might want some meat or some boar here, some boar meat, or maybe a tanner. There one of those in town?
No, I think you're asking the wrong questions, friend. Where is the head of that boar?
I don't know. Why does that matter?
So you're gonna tell me you came from wherever you came from and found a headless boar and did not care to ask a question or two?
I come from behind and I walk up. I say, "Here's the head." And then I tap him on the shoulder and said, "I came to save your day." That's what the cheese does.
Yurgriff, you do know Fignacious, not very well, but he's been in town for a handful of days now, and he's been trying to peddle these cheeses around, and most people side-eye him a little bit on it, but you know, you've probably tasted some of it by now, and some of it's pretty good.
Fignacious, my good friend, good morning to you. I see you have made acquaintances with what is, I don't believe I got your name. What is your name again, sir?
It's Raymond.
Raymond. Okay, very nice to meet you, Raymond. I am Yurgriff Anvilhands. I am the smithy of this town. Should you need good weaponry, good armory, or just a shield to save your life?
So, how about that tanner?
So
Yeah.
Yurgriff, you would know there's no tanner in town. The best place that would come close to somebody who would want a 3/4 or a full but chopped in half boar might be Barthen's Provisions.
Now you could take that destructed pig carried on your shoulders in the hands of my good friend Figgy over there, and you could go to I believe Barthen's Provisions, for they may be able to assist you. We are a small town. We don't have a tannery of such things, really.
Well, you look like a smithy. Do you need leather for any reason?
I do not deal in leather. I deal with fine steels.
I see. And then he just walks away.
What?
Yurgriff looks at Figgy and just turns on his heel and just walks towards his forge.
Once again, Raymond, not getting any information about where to take the boar, walks off into town to try and figure shit out for himself. As Yurgriff turns back towards his smithy and then remembers what he was trying to do, and ends up following Fignacious towards Jonathan Maneth's to grab a quick breakfast now that they have both set up the shop, got some things rolling, and it's more close to a normal breakfast time for most people in town, and those shops are open. It's around 9 o'clock or so, and the two of you are, not necessarily together, but you're heading off in that direction of that nice eatery. And as you both get close, you do see the boy who their parents own the eatery, but he works across the street at the Wanton Thief. Comes running out and heading into the Wanton Thief, carrying what appears to be like a sack of uncooked meat that is fresh enough that it is also dripping blood out the side and across the road. And you see him trip and fall, and the meat falls on the ground, and he goes, oh no! And he picks it up and starts like wiping off the dirt before he goes rushing into that house, or the Wanton Thief. And you see Moxie. The door busts open. He says, I dropped it. It got a little dirty. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna wash it off and I'll cook it for you.
Okay. You need to calm down. Walk too fast. You run too fast. Your brain goes too fast, and nothing is coming out that's productive. Stop. Just relax.
You see him go.
Are you giving birth? Are you okay?
I'll be fine. It's just been a rough morning. Let me get that breakfast for you. I'm sorry. And at this point, your tea
How
is
many
gone.
rough mornings do you have?
You would know at this point that he has a handful of them. He is definitely a hard klutz, and it is day in and day out, and that's probably why his parents want him working in another place for the time being, not in their nice upscale establishment, which at this point you might be thinking about just going and getting your breakfast at instead.
Yeah.
Some time goes by, and you do that. He's out back cooking for a little while, and he doesn't come back with anything worthwhile. The meat is undercooked, and you're just like, and you.
I thought you were gonna get it cooked, kid.
And he says,
But okay.
I'm sorry. Next time. And you just say.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll let your parents know. Breakfast is on you. I'm gonna go across the street.
You make your way across the street, and you see two fellas in there that you have seen before, and they are just sitting down. I don't know. Are you two eating together, or are you being separate?
I'd say we're eating together, Yurgriff.
Is the boar head with him or not?
It is.
That'll
slung
depend
across
on-
my back.
We are eating together, but there is a stool separating us.
You walk in, Moxie, to see two people you've seen in town. Maybe you don't know them, but you've seen them in town at the very least. One of which definitely has, a quarter of a boar that is bleeding out all down his clothing, strung up and tied to his back like it's a backpack. And they are sitting down awaiting some food while they drink some coffee and have some water or whatever else they're drinking.
I walk up to dead boar man and I say, "Excuse me, sir. I think half of your boar is missing. Just so you know."
Oh, thanks for the heads up.
I hate that pun, but I respect it.
Sorry, I just love that.
Are you also an entertainer that I should be knowing about?
I've seen you before, and you could take that joke if you want, as long as you attribute it to yours truly.
The boar man?
The boar man.
Yeah,
No, the name is Fignacious. You can call me Figgy. And this is Yurgriff.
Yurgriff Anvilhands, very nice to meet you, lady.
See, Yurgriff.
Yurgriff. Don't listen to the boy, man. He sometimes has a stutter.
Did you hear me stutter? Did I stutter?
He did not stutter, I must say.
Oh, I do apologize. It is just so early. I see my words have been mixed up.
It is very early, and people continue to function this early in the morning somehow.
What's your name, ma'am?
Moxie is fine.
Doxy, good to meet you.
It's not far off.
Close enough, I guess. I thought that was your name.
You know.
Yurgriff just puts his hands at like his temple and it just shakes his head. Oh, Figgy.
All right.
The innkeeper. This is like it's a very small inn. It has one room. It's the most upscale room in the entire town, and very rarely do people use it because they charge a little bit too much for it. But aside from being an inn, it is mostly a very upscale eatery. And the short human man that owns the place, or at least partially owns the place, Jamath comes walking up and says, I see the waitress took care of all your drinks and everything. You guys, are you together? Do you want to order? Are you hungry? What's going on? How you guys doing? Yurgriff, sorry, my boy was just over here. It's been an interesting morning to say the least. How are you?
Oh, did he see this boy drop all the meat on the ground?
Oh yeah.
Oh, my friend, I will say I'm doing much better than your seed is doing. You may want to just make sure that he slows himself down a little bit.
Yeah, that boy is. He's a little uppity. He takes after his mother.
I don't know if I would say uppity. I would say more of a calamity.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. You know me. You've known me for years. I'm not one with words. I just run this place. And you see him look back, and he motions for somebody in another room to start like getting some stuff together. It's about this time that the door slams open, incredibly loud, as the boar blood covered human that walked out of the woods comes busting in after following the direction that you had headed to remind or to come in and ask you guys where he's supposed to go to do this thing.
I do declare I found the other half of your boar.
Well, it wasn't hard to find you. You have quite the blood trail you're leaving there. What was your name again?
That's Twiggy.
Fignacious Mangelbopper.
All right, Bopper.
Who are you?
Raymond.
Damon. Perfect.
Close enough. I walk up to the bar.
Why does everyone keep saying that to me?
I walk up. I stop talking to them and I just walk away. And I walk up to the bar and I slam whatever's left of the boar on top of the bar. I just say, "Hey, any of you guys want this?"
So you walk up the stair. You walk up the stairs of this double-story stone-walled building with a reinforced wooden door, which you slam open, and it slams against the wall. The owner, who's trying to get the food for these folks, just looks over like, what the hell is going on, but doesn't say a word. You come over and interact with these people who are by the bar attempting to have their breakfast, and slam a dead, bleeding boar on the counter. And everyone just looks at you with this blank stare. Like, what the fuck is this guy doing? As all of a sudden, Maneth comes walking out of the back. What's that racket? You see this this elven woman with long flowing like auburn hair, probably about halfway down her back, and she's wearing what looks to be very, very nice and proper clothing. And over the front, she's wearing like a chef's kind of a chef's apron, and it is covered in blood. She's doing whatever she's doing out back, maybe preparing the meats for the day. And she comes out screaming after the door slams and the pig hits the ground, and you yell about what to do about this boar. And you watch as she looks over and says, "You, get that off of my bar right now!" As at the same time she's saying that, she flicks a finger and uses prestidigitation to get all the blood off of her apron, takes the apron and throws it down on the ground very angrily. "What is the racket going on? I'm trying to get the meals ready for today." And you see her husband, Jarmuth, just kind of slink away a little bit, indicating that he was speaking a bit out of turn when he had made mention about his wife to one of his patrons. She didn't hear it, but you know who's in charge here when she walks in the room.
Is that your wife?
Yes, that's
Oh, that's the one your son takes after. It's a pleasure.
You hear her go, "What? Jarmuth, you son of a bitch! Get back there and get the grains up from the stores downstairs. We gotta make the porridge for this afternoon." And you see him say, of course, and he just takes off.
Ma'am, I think your son is lovely. He's been taking care of me the last week.
"Why, thank you, my dear." She calms down instantly.
He did tell me that I could eat breakfast here because he dropped mine on the floor. So I came here. But he is lovely.
That does sound about right. Well, what is it that you would like for breakfast this morning?
He promised me... He promised me some sort of meat something or the other special. I don't really know.
Would you like some boar's head?
No.
It's yummy.
She stops for a second while you're explaining this to her, and she does look over towards Raymond and says, "I'm sorry, dear. Would you please either take that outside or bring it out back so that we can butcher it? If you're trying to sell it, don't bring it 3/4 of the way."
Raymond says, "Oh, So you are interested. Great, because I've got this boar and I've got this great
Half
cheese.
a boar.
Sorry.
Half.
I've got this 2/3 of a boar here. And I've got this cheese, and I was thinking you could maybe turn it into some kind of wild boar charcuterie board. So, I'll bring this around back, and maybe you guys can dice it up and sell it and give me some money. How's that?
You see her think a little bit, and she looks over at the names at Fignacious and says, and just sees the half a boar head on the back of him, and just goes, "It's going to be one of those days. I just look at
her and smile.
I will give you 20 gold for that mangled boar that you brought into my house."
That sounds lovely. You need me to bring it around back?
That would be lovely, my dear.
I pick up the boar. I throw it on my shoulder. I grab a rag out of my pocket and I kind of wipe the counter really quick, just because she's going to give me money. I don't want to sour that deal. I wipe it up, and then I head out the door and go around back.
Okay.
Seems like all he would do is push around the puddle of blood on the counter instead of actually.
He makes the effort.
Yeah.
Makes the effort, but doesn't actually clean anything. I feel roll for cleaning counters.
What kind of roll was that? I'll do it.
Dexterity check.
She says, Yurgriff, it is nice to see you. I hope you're having a good morning. Would you like the regular? And she looks at the rest of you. I don't believe I really know the two of you that well, but the regular is sausages and biscuits. Would that do well for this morning?
It's fine by me.
I'm only gonna have biscuits and butter and boar's head. I only eat in alliteration.
All right then. I will be back. Please help yourself to any coffee or drinks that you need. She says, Yurgriff, I know that you're good for it. And she walks out back. And as she goes walking away, you hear, Jameth, get your ass up here! She just starts yelling again, but she goes out back to begin to prepare the food for you all. And eventually, while you exchange whatever pleasantries you may, or while you just sit around being dead quiet to each other, eventually Raymond comes back up and wipes down the counter a little bit more and sits down and partakes as well. And she comes back to serve the food, and you all have breakfast. Would you like to do anything while you're having breakfast? Are you guys conversing, or are you kind of just doing your own thing?
I would like to ask my friends Yurgriff and Doxy if they know any good boar's head recipes.
Now, we mountain dwarves, we don't really deal with boar's heads, but what I would say is maybe just pop it in a pot, a little bit of boiling water, maybe find yourself some spices, and really just cook that bad boy up.
Oh, thank you.
Raymond has been ferociously eating because he probably hasn't eaten in a little while. That's just kind of how he rolls. But with a mouthful of food, he just turns and he says, yeah, I told you gotta make head cheese. You ever heard of head cheese? He eats more. He's eating more.
No, Damon, tell me more.
So, head cheese. Well, head cheese is when... I can't do this voice. This is stupid.
You're doing great. I love this.
You're good, man.
Yeah, I love
what
it.
you gotta do.
Head cheese. Well, head cheese is you take the head like the Smithy said. You put it in a big pot with water and you boil the crap out of it for like 20 hours. Then you take it out. You pick out all the meats off of the cheek and other places on the head or whatever the hell parts I gave you. And then you take the liquid and you put it all in a big vat with all the meats, and then you wait for it to congeal, and now you've got head cheese. It's another kind of cheese, but it's made out of head. Get it? Then he keeps eating.
Please do not. I'm glad this is going to be on the internet, so you can always refer back to your voice, because that's your voice from here on out. It's too good. Thanks.
That was my full of food voice. Mouthful of
sure. Okay.
Maybe your mouth will always be full of food for the rest of this campaign. May your mouth always be full of food and never empty for the rest of this campaign.
Curse. I can get cursed.
So as you're having this discussion and you're eating away, a pair of folks come walking in. There is this tall dwarven, or like for a dwarf, he's pretty tall. He towers over Yurgriff by almost a foot. And this tall dwarf comes walking in. He has a round face with straight auburn hair and brown eyes. He wears splint mail and wields a halberd on his back. And he comes in again, and he stubs his toe. And as he stubs his toe, the first thing he says, God damn it, stupid dragons made me stub my toe again. You hear the other person, this shorter, actually shorter than the dwarf, human male, comes walking in behind him and says, Zigid, you're always blaming the friggin' dragons. There are no dragons, man. None of that's around here. It's not their fault. It's your fault. You stubbed your toe, man. Relax. This guy's got tangled silver hair and soft gray eyes, and he also wears armor. He has plate mail and wields a spear. And Yurgriff, you would know him because he actually came in and had you knock out some dents in the plate mail, but maybe a week ago. And also one night while you were having a couple drinks after dinner, he challenged you to a game of darts. His name is Ahmed.
Ahmed, my friend, welcome. Good morning to you. What are you doing here in town? Need to get that plate mail fixed up again?
Oh, hey, Yurgriff, how you doing, man? He's like, I got another dent over here. The adventure in business, it's crazy shit going on all the time.
Would Yurgriff know the dwarf as well?
You've probably seen him around, but you haven't had any real interactions with him.
Well, Ahmed, if you need that plate mail fixed up, come over to the Cracked Anvil. You know that your old friend Yurgriff Anvilhands will take care of you.
I'll do this, just that, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I think right now me and this goon are gonna have something to eat, and then we gotta go meet up with Miriam. I think we're gonna have our hand at that abandoned what you guys, the temple or whatever that you guys got in the edge of town. I think we're gonna take a trip in there finally and see if we can find all these treasures everyone's always talking about.
How is the dwarf's beard?
It is not super long, and it looks as if maybe it caught fire recently, as half of it is burned away.
Yurgriff looks at the dwarf. He says, Yurgriff Anvilhands, owner, proprietor of that Cracked Anvil. Shame to see what happened to the face.
I was playing with fire. Shouldn't have been.
As we like to say in the smithing business, if you play with fire, you will get burned eventually.
Yeah, I like that. And they go and sit down and they get served. And as you guys are kind of in your own pace finishing up your meals, everyone make a perception check, please. First group check.
For some people, fire is a king. What am I doing? Perception?
Yep.
13.
Dirty 20.
Nice.
5.
Okay. A handful of other people have come in at this point to have like that kind of late morning breakfast, 10 a.m. breakfast-ish or so. But you can hear over the slightly growing crowd a discussion between Ahmed and Ziged, and specifically like Yurgriff. You hear you hear something that sparks your interest very quickly because you've lived in this town for a number of years now. You know a lot of the people here. You hear them discussing about having just heard on their way into town that one of the children of the town have gone missing in the night.
Yurgriff makes a mental note of it, but continues listening.
So you hear them discussing, and you just hear Ahmed saying, "Man, it's real it's a real shame that boy's gone missing. They said they can't find him anywhere." And Zigga just says, "Well, they are dangerous woods around here, and you know, people got to watch their children. Like, they can't just let them run around and do whatever they want." And Ahmed on kind of lighter side goes, "Yeah, but come on, man. He's just a kid. Like, maybe we should go help find him. Maybe we've been in and out of this town for the last couple of weeks now. Like, people know who we are. We should go help him." And that's kind of where that conversation is going. Moxie, you actually hear a different conversation happening, and it is some people, like, it looks like a family, and the grandfather of the family is sitting there talking very loudly to the grandmother, trying to explain what she can't hear because her hearing's going. Said, No, I said undead knights. Yeah, no. Listen to me, undead knights. Yeah, the castle. That's what they're talking about. Crazy stuff, right? And the rest of the family's like, "Oh, Dad, just relax. There's nothing over in that stupid castle."
My. So it's like grandparents,
parents,
and kids.
Yeah, like parents and a couple kids. Yeah.
I heard they're just dead knights, not undead knights.
The kids go, "Ah!" They start laughing. The old woman says, What? And she pulls out this massive horn and puts it to her ear, and says, "Say that again, dearie. I couldn't hear you."
I get up and I go whisper into it.
"Oh, dead knights."
Honey,
what's going on? He's just like, these two are just out of it. They don't know what is happening.
All right, kids, this is why you stay in school, you understand?
One of them just reaches up to touch your horn.
It's very expensive. You can't afford it. They'll have to eat your hands.
The second you say "eat your hands," roll an intimidation check, please.
7.
The youngest one, like the one that's probably like 5 and just barely understands what you're really trying to say, slinks away and hides behind his older brother, who's probably only like 9 or 10 years old. And he says, "No, come on, that's you're not gonna eat my hand, silly. No way."
No, you're right.
"Can I touch them, please? They look so cool."
Do you want me to touch your head?
"No, I guess not."
I poke him in the forehead.
And he just kind of backwards, and you hear, you see the father give him a little, nothing heavy, but like a little tap off the side of the head and says, "Leave her alone. You're being rude. I'm so sorry. I did not mean to interrupt your breakfast."
Hey, it's fine. He's brave. I like it.
Well, maybe there are things he can learn from other brave people. And he looks around and says, "When he's older."
Yeah, I don't see a lot of brave people here. No offense.
"Oh, I am not brave. Do not worry about me. I'm just happy to have a place for my family and the town's guard to keep us safe."
And your undead knights, I understand.
You can't worry about the old ones. I mean, my father's seen a lot of things, and it doesn't always, they don't always intermingle with the truth these days, you know?
It'll make a good story, though. I might have to come find your father later.
He does have some real good stories, that's for sure. Maybe better after he's had a little bit of coffee and wakes up in the morning. But
well,
didn't catch your
good to
name.
know. Moxie.
Moxie, that's a lovely name. My name is Zonkak.
Zonkak, it's a mouthful.
I mean, it's only one more syllable than your name.
My name isn't real, you understand that, right?
Then why would you tell me that it was that? I don't understand.
Because that's what I go by. It's not like someone named me Zonkak. It's hard to say.
Fair enough.
Someone gave me a very stupid name, like, not that yours is stupid, but someone gave me a stupid name, so I changed it.
You see him, like, he's not a stupid man, and he sees the conversation and the way it's going, and he kind of just starts to distance himself from the conversation and just says, I think we're going to finish our meal, but thanks for keeping my children entertained.
Yeah, bring your kids around, that shithole across the street, then, maybe I'll let him, I shouldn't be saying this as a child. Maybe you know what? We'll talk about horns later, never mind.
You catch an under the breath response from presumably his wife next to him, and she says, I will never go in that shithole across the street. She's right. She's right, it's a shithole.
This is my woman. You're very beautiful, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I have to say, I don't come across tieflings very often. She is also human. She is probably in her maybe 50s at this point. She's looking pretty good for being in such a kind of at least in your opinion, knowing your character, kind of a ratty town. At least at this point, you've seen better, you've lived in better, and she has that same air of her that you do. She's not here because she really wants to be, but she's dealing with it type thing. She says,
we've all made sacrifices for the men in our lives.
Fair enough. I like you. You're nice. It's nice to meet you, Moxie. My name is Hiprar.
Hiprar?
Hiprar. Hiprar.
Your name is nice. I like your name.
Thank you.
It's my tongue a little bit, but most good things do. So.
Are you going to the farmers market tomorrow?
Yes, of course I am.
Oh, well, maybe I'll see you there. I need to pick up some things for the week.
Are you taking your whole family, or is this a you thing?
No. I need to get away sometimes. This is a me thing.
Yes. Then I'll see you there.
Excellent. I hope so. Maybe we can have some pastries or something.
Sounds good.
It's nice to meet other folk of a like mind.
Agreed. All right, I'll leave them alone.
Yeah. Ultimately, they go about their business, and continue eating as everyone else finishes up the meals. You hear some crying down to coming from outside the building. No idea what it is, but you do hear it as your meals come to a close. What would you all like to do?
I want to order 2 more cups of coffee and chug them.
You just pound them back, bam, bam. Like they're shots.
2 coffees. Yeah. And then I go 1, 2, put them down.
Okay.
Walk out the door.
Okay.
Wait! Where are you going? I mean, I don't remember what your voice is for you. Wait, where are you going?
Hey, Doxy, I'm going back to my cart. Do you want some cheese?
Do you guys like to drink?
Yeah, I just drank. Did you see all the coffee I just drank?
I meant the alcohol kind.
Oh, the alcohol kind of coffee? Yes.
Yes.
I love it. Yes. Caffeine and alcohol. I love it. And cheese. Why do you ask?
I've been known as a dwarf to handle my ales.
How about you, Bloody Man? How do you feel about alcohol?
Wait, you already asked me.
The other one. The other Bloody Man.
Damon.
The other Bloody Man.
I don't think Ray has any more food in his mouth. He says, I can throw back a few pints. What you getting at?
Well, I don't know many people in this town, and I have a whole lot of nothing going on tonight. So we should all get drinks and see who can outdrink whom. Winner gets cheese. It's absolutely a challenge. And your cheese is up for grabs.
Well, I always want more of my cheese, so I'm ready to crush all of you.
Challenge is accepted.
Raymond looks and just says, I guess so.
Do you want to take a bite out of this boar head? So you can have food in your mouth? And I turn around and prefer the boar head to you.
No, I'm all set. Thanks.
Fine. Your loss. And I take a bite out of the boar head.
Do not be scared of the drinking challenge. That was disgusting, but I respect it again.
You you all find your way heading out with plans to meet up, despite whatever you do throughout the day, to meet up later tonight to have drinks somewhere, either back here or over at the Wanton Thief, where Moxie is staying. As you all head out into the thoroughfare area, you notice a crowd is starting to gather towards the town square in the direction of the smithy, and you hear more of this echoing of what the two fighters that had come in, the two adventurers that had come into the shop were talking about. People discussing about the boy that's gone missing, and everyone is kind of heading towards the town square, it appears.
Yurgriff heads in that direction.
I mean, I'm nosy, so I'm going that way too.
I have nothing better to do, and I like following people, so I'm going to go as well. But I make sure to bring along my cheeses and don't leave them at the bar.
How many people are there?
You can see, I mean, you don't know how many people are in this town because you're not from here, but there's, a handful of people, maybe 5 or 6 in different groups kind of heading towards that way. But as you look in that direction, there's definitely a small crowd, like maybe 40 or 50 people at this point, at least from the edges that you can see from here.
Do I see a high vantage point a ways away?
You can make a perception check to figure out the best spot that you think you could get. Yeah. Ooh.
20.
Okay. You see there are a couple options. At the far end, past the town square, there is what appears to be a larger building that has kind of a tower attached to the back of it. You see into the woods a little bit further to the north of that, there is actually a tower. It looks kind of decrepit from this distance. Something closer by, across the street, or actually looking back up at the building that you're in, or that you were in, you see that the way that it's set up, it's a multi-tiered building, and it's really tall, and you think if you were to get up there, you would be able to see the town square from here, but probably not hear very well.
What's the best option for hearing?
Probably just to walk straight into the town square and see what's going on. I mean, you could get on the rooftops if you really want to. Totally up to you.
Raymond walks towards the town center, but keeps a little bit of distance.
I send my mage hand out behind you and make sure to push you along very lightly, just to make sure you keep walking.
You feel this. Something touches your back and starts pushing you a little bit, like lightly.
I turn around immediately.
There's nothing there and no one's next to you.
Do I still feel it?
Yeah, it's pushing you in the other direction now.
It's pushing again. Oh, it's pulling him now.
Oh, okay. It's pulling you towards the town square.
It grabbed the back of your shirt and it's pulling you. And if you turn around again, it'll push you. Very gently, like it's a friendly mage hand.
Can I look to see who would be casting a spell on me?
Yeah, sure. I mean, he already cast a spell, and you weren't facing him or with him, so like you can't see who's casting it. But you can make an Arcana check if you'd like. Just try and ascertain what is happening, knowing that you do know a little bit of magic yourself.
7. No idea.
You watch, even with a 7, I mean, you did watch some funky things go down with your friend here. But you don't know. You just feel this thing touching you in the back, and you're reaching for it, and you're not touching anything. There's nothing there. You even get your hand in the spot where the touching is happening, but this thing is an ethereal hand that just happens to be able to grab you, so it's not. You can't touch it.
The mage hand then pats you on the back to reassure you, and then starts pushing you again.
Ray just keeps walking.
What's Moxie doing? Is Moxie following along, or is she ducking out?
That she was leading.
Yeah, she's definitely going along, but she's trying to keep an eye on everybody as well. Not just like the group, but just anything that's going on. Sticking more to like, I know there's not shadows because it's a town, but not like super direct routes.
She's being careful to present herself to people she doesn't really know, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You all, in your own time, get to that area, and you can see now that at the very minimum, 100 or so townspeople have crowded around the large horse statue that is in the center of town, the statue of Shadowfax. And you see this this gnomish man. He's probably about 3 feet tall or so, 3.5 maybe, getting up onto the horse proper and pulling himself up onto one of its legs. And Yurgriff, you recognize this person instantly. It is the ipso facto mayor of the town, and there isn't really a mayor here. It's more, the whole town is run by a council, but this is kind of like the spokesperson for that council, and the name is Jeffrey Lynn Sr. He is an older gnome who is the owner of the Oakshire lumber mill. And you hear him get up there and he says, quiet down, and everyone almost instantly quiets down at his voice. And Jeffrey Lynn Sr. says, all right, look, the Ember Spine boy was last seen last night. He was in his home. They woke up this morning and his parents found him missing. We all know that he tends to play around some of the ruins. Every once in a while, he goes off and messes around the edges of the forest. We need teams of people to get together to search the forest and try to find them. We need some people to check out the old abandoned tower. We need some people to check out the decrepit and abandoned temple. We had guards stationed there like we do every night. They didn't see the kid go in there, but we need some people to go in there anyway and check that out too. We gotta find the boy. It's too dangerous for him to be out on his own. These wild, we all know what this town is like. Inside the town, we're pretty safe. Outside the town, you know how it happens. You know how it works. We need volunteers, and people start like going up in groups. And you can. Some of you don't know these people, but Yurgriff knows a lot of these people, if not all of them by sight at least. And you can see the cliques of people that you would normally see in town hanging out, getting together and going up and saying, "We're gonna go check. We're gonna go check the north section of the thing by the lumber mill." Others just say, "We'll go south." Some are saying, "We're gonna go check out some of the houses and we'll start rummaging through and making sure he's not hiding in a basement or something like that." But you see more and more people kind of gathering together to try and find this boy.
Yurgriff turns toward. Who is anyone with him of this group? Or did we all just kind of walk over together?
Basically, yeah.
All right. Yurgriff turns toward everyone. He says, now we can maybe make a little fun out of this and do a little adventuring and finish it up with a little drinking tonight. What do you guys think?
Yes.
I would say let's add the drinking to before and after.
I double agree with this.
I sly smile and I wink with both eyes.
Sure.
But I meant coffee.
Oh. Yeah, that.
Yeah, I just want to take some coffee with me.
Yurgriff heads over to Jeffrey Lynn Sr. Mr. Lynn Sr., my friends and I would like to volunteer to find the boy as well.
That's great to hear, Yurgriff. Thank you. You heard the whole thing. He was last seen in his house, but he's not there anymore. I've already got a group going to the tower. I've got a group heading to the south and north, and I have a couple others that are going to do some scattered searching around town and the edges of town. Where do you guys want to head? I mean, there's plenty of forests. You know this. There's plenty of forests to be searched. I need some people to go check out the temple. I need some people to go check out Barthen's provisions, because I know that basement goes down a ways into the old ruins that were here. What do you guys want to do? Where do you want to go?
Raymond walks up and says, "Do you have any? What size shoe does the boy wear?"
That I don't know. I mean, you can ask his mother. Probably ask the father. She's a wreck right now. He's over at the brewery talking to some folks, trying to figure out where to go search.
How old is the boy?
Maybe 12 or 13, I think.
All right. When was he last seen?
They put him to bed last night, so at this point, pretty close to around 12 hours.
Folks, let's go to the house right now. Let's look in the bedroom. Let's see if I can get any idea of where he may have gone. I've got some good tracking skills.
Sounds like a great idea.
I mean, it's better than the things that I want to say to this man. So yeah, sure.
Will they make me some coffee?
We'll get you some coffee. We'll get you.
Okay.
So each in your own right go off to collect the respective things that you may need for such a venture, and you meet back in the town center to head off to the house of the family whose child has gone missing, the Ember Spines. And as we head with our group towards their first potential adventure, I think this is a good place to end our first game.
We did it.
Nice. That was awesome. It's nice getting the initial first game jitters out, figuring everything out. It's fun, guys. This is great.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I love it. I love our little team. Our little team of weirdos.
Yeah, exactly.
A strange group of people.
Well,
Worked out just fine.
it's funny trying to get a group together who they're all from different places that don't know each other, and try to as a DM in every game I've ever run, it's always the most awkward thing trying to figure out story to make that happen. So aside from having Yurgriff be the opener, I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. It was just, let's just see where this goes. No, it was great. It was great.
We're strange enough that we can talk to each other.
Yep. Perfect.
Yeah, this is gonna be a lot of fun.
All you need.
So next time we play, we will head off to the house of the Ember Spines, and we will start the search for the missing child and go from there.
Sounds
the
good.
missing child.
Cool.
Dun, dun, dun.
Stick around for 1 second, but on that note, this is Rabble Rouzers, and we hope that those of you who have checked us out enjoyed what you saw so far. There's more to come. It's going to be great. I am your humble GM, referee, whatever you want to call me, Steve Ocelot, aka Rabbles, and this is the team. I can't see my thing, so down there and up there and over here.
Doing like a Brady Bunch thing.
Awesome, guys.